In our second video of 8b, we're going to be factoring expressions that have 4 terms. So 4 terms. And when we do, we're going to factor by grouping. We're going to underline the first pair of terms and the second pair. We're going to factor the GCF from the first group and then factor the GCF from the second group. And if the GCF is 1, so if there's not a common factor, the GCF would be 1, we're going to factor out a 1. If the third term is negative, we're going to factor out a negative GCF. 3, we're going to look for the common factor, which is the entire quantity contained in a set of parentheses, and then factor it out. So just a little aside here, x plus 3 and 3 plus x are equivalent expressions. And what that means is if I have, say, 2 plus 5 or 5 plus 2, they have the same value, so the order doesn't make a difference. So x plus 3 and 3 plus x are the same thing. However, x minus 3 and 3 minus x are opposites. And you can see it here. If I do 2 minus 5, and then I do 5 minus 2, you see in the first one I get negative 3, and in the second one I get positive 3. So negative 3, positive 3 are opposites. All right, so example 2, factor by grouping. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. You can see them separated by the pluses and minuses. I'm going to underline the first 2, underline the second 2. Then once we do that, we're going to look in this first group and look for the common factor. And we see they both have a 2. So we're going to just factor it out of that little group of 2. And when I do, that leaves me with a C plus and then D. If the third term is negative, I'm going to take out a negative, so you can see that right there. So I'm going to take out a negative, and then I look at the next 2 terms and see that they have a D in common. And when I take it out, it's going to give me a C. And then when I divide the negative into a negative, it's going to change this to a positive. D going to D squared, D times. So whenever I take out the minus, it's going to change that sign in the middle. All right, so now I notice that my 2 parentheses are the same. So we're going to do like we did earlier on this page. And we're going to take that common factor to the front. And then that leaves us with the 2 and the minus D right there. So 2 minus D for our answer. All right, so let's try B. So same thing. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. So I'm going to underline the first 2, underline the second 2. Find the common factor in the first 2, which is U. And that leaves me with U minus 3 and V. Again, I have a minus in the middle, so I take out the minus. And that's going to, let's see, oh, I forgot. And here I'm going to have a 6 and a V in common. You can kind of see that little V I stuck in there. 6V in common. And when I take out the 6V, it's going to leave me with a U. And that minus is going to change this plus into a minus. And then 6 will go into 18 3 times. And I take one of the V's out, and I have 1 V left over. So notice that when I distribute, I want to check back, I get negative 6UV. And then a negative times a negative is positive 18V to the second. All right, so then I see my 2 parentheses are the same. I'm going to factor those out, and it leaves me with U minus 6V for the answer.